Money, money, money.
So, Nintendo is in the middle of some nonsense right now. You'd think the biggest problem for their new Nintendo Switch 2 coming out would be scalpers or maybe the hardware getting leaked early. Nope. It's tariffs. Yeah, government stuff, import taxes, politics. So today we're going to talk about how Nintendo just delayed pre-orders for the Switch 2 in the US and what that could mean for the actual launch, because this might get messy. Alright, so here's the whole entire situation. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is supposed to launch on June 5th, right? Cool. That hasn't changed at all. But pre-orders in the US were supposed to go live on April 9th. Which was yesterday. Then, last minute, Nintendo was like, yeah, actually, no, not doing pre-orders right now. We'll check back later.
Liar!
And what is the reason exactly that Nintendo did this?
Oh, money!
And what does this have to do with the tariffs? Well, there were massive new tariffs on imports from Vietnam and Japan. And of course, that's exactly where most of the Switch 2's production happened. So this whole entire situation really isn't Nintendo fumbled the bag moment. It's more like a Nintendo just got blindsided by the feds by a bunch of import taxes. So how bad exactly are these tariffs that were just imposed on Vietnam and Japan? Vietnamese goods are getting hit with a 46% import tax, and Japan, well, they're getting hit with a 24% import tax. But that's not just affecting Nintendo. That's across the entire board. But for Nintendo, this is extra bad because their supply chain is deeply tied to both Japan and Vietnam. Assembly in Vietnam, parts from Japan, it's the whole entire setup for their consoles and how they assemble their things in general. So now, just getting the console in the US means they would be losing a chunk of cash before it even hits the shelves. And let's be real, Nintendo doesn't even pretend to be generous with their pricing. They're not about to take a loss on hardware for the good of the fans. This is Nintendo we're talking about here. This is not Valve. So let's break down the whole entire pricing situation right now and why it sucks. So right now, as of this recording, the Nintendo Switch 2 is already $449, and the Mario Kart bundle is $499. Now, imagine those numbers creeping up to $550, maybe even $600. I mean, that is just ridiculous. And nothing about the console even changed. It suddenly just got more expensive because of taxes. That's where things get really sketchy. You're not paying for more extra performance or better features or new content. You're just paying more because the US decided to shake up trade policy. And no matter how you lean politically, this just sucks in general. I mean, technically we all lose in the end. Well, except scalpers. Let's be honest here, scalpers are probably loving every part of this situation. Now, Nintendo did try to prep for this whole entire situation. They apparently stockpiled Switch 2 units in the US before the tariffs hit. So they've got some inventory already sitting in warehouses, ready for launch day. Which is smart, at least for that first wave. But what about after that? Every new shipment they bring over is going to be more expensive than that first batch. So unless you're a part of that day one crowd, you're going to be paying more or waiting longer or even both. And in my opinion, I think this is where things could really start to spiral. Do you guys remember that whole entire PS5 launch a few years ago? You know, where it was like $2,000 for a PS5 because of COVID limiting the amount of PS5s being produced in the US? I think we're getting dangerously close to that again with this whole entire Nintendo Switch 2. If Nintendo only has a limited amount of tariff-free consoles and they're not rushing new shipments, that early stock is gonna disappear in seconds. I mean, sold out immediately. I mean, scalpers are gonna eat that up like a bunch of hyenas. And all of us who just wanted to play Mario in peace are gonna be sitting there like, well, cool, guess I'll just go back to playing my dusty OLED model. Or I guess I'll go play some Wii Sports or something, you know, from a console that was made the year that I was born. And honestly, this whole entire situation is just really upsetting, not only for Nintendo, but really for its fans more than that. And this hits different just because it's not even Nintendo's fault or once. I mean, think about how many times Nintendo has been in the crossfire of a really, bad situation. You know, there's definitely quite a few times that has happened, and almost every single time it's happened, it's a valid reason why the fans are not happy with Nintendo. Like, think about the online services, the Joy-Cons, whatever, right? But this is just crazy. I mean, they're literally in the crossfire of US economic policy, and they are now intertwined with politics, which, as everybody that watches this video that lives in the United States knows, that's a whole different breed of its own. I mean, it's not like they're suddenly becoming incompetent. They literally just got smacked by the system. I guess this is what happens when global politics meets supply chains. Suddenly your fun little video game console in Mario World or whatever you're playing becomes a casualty in a trade war. And you know what? You gotta love that for the Nintendo fans. And it would be one thing if Nintendo was the only brand being affected by this whole entire situation, but there are actually dozens of brands being affected by this. Jaguar Land Rover, they're pausing US deliveries. Rolex, no more watches for now. Even luxury toys and fashion brands are pulling back because of this situation. This whole thing is causing a ripple effect across multiple industries. So what exactly does Nintendo do now? They have a few options, but none of them are great. They can delay the launch in the US, they can raise prices after launch, or they could ship fewer units to the United States. They might even tweak the bundles, like remove accessories to lower the cost. There's also a small chance they fast-track manufacturing somewhere else, but that's not a quick fix. Supply chain shifts take months, maybe even longer. So here's the real question out of this whole entire situation. What do you do if you're planning on trying to buy the Switch 2? You need to watch this item like a hawk on the market. Follow Nintendo's official channels. Hit up the usual leakers and trackers because once pre-orders open back up, they'll go fast. And that first wave might be the only chance to get the console at its original price. After that, it could get stupid expensive or just be sold out for weeks. So yeah, Nintendo's about to launch one of their biggest consoles ever and they're getting absolutely bodied by US tariffs. And you and I are just sitting here wondering if we're gonna have to pay $600 just to play Mario Kart, which is awesome. Anyways, that's the whole entire mess summarized. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you guys did enjoy the video, of course, make sure to subscribe, like the video, dislike the video, say whatever you want. I'll see you guys next time.